إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد معظم الجود والكرم وآله الكرام وابنه الكريم مبارك وسلم صلوا عليه صلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا سندي يا حبيبي يا طبيبي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا رحمة للعالمين نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الأمين المكين الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين خوف اعظم بمن بسر ساما مدد قبلہ دی مدد کعبہ ایمان مدد قادریم نعرائے یا خوف اعظم بزنم دمز شیخ احمد رضا خان قطب عالم بزنم سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ خان زندہ باد مسلک سرکار اعلیٰ حضرت زندہ باد یا الہی مسلک احمد رضا خان زندہ باد حفظ ناموں سے رسالت کا جو ذمہ دار ہے سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ خان زندہ باد حامل فیض رضائے مصطفیٰ امداد کن صلی اللہ علی النبی الامی وآلہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم صلاة والسلام علیک یا سیدی یا سندی یا حبیبی یا طبیبی یا رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا رحمة للعالمين. All praise is due to Almighty Allah. Durood and salams upon the most perfect, exalted and glorified of Allah's creation, Sayyiduna wa Mawlana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. His blessings and salutations upon the Anbiya Kiram, Ahle Bayt Athar, Sahaba Kiram, Khulafa Rashidin, Tabain, Tabain, Aimma Mujtahideen, Awliya Kamilin, and all those who follow the path until the last day. We thank Almighty Allah for His infinite mercy and to the wasila of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam for blessing us with the opportunity to congregate to Salatul JUMMAH and to prostrate in His most exalted court. Before continuing, let us direct our hearts, our thoughts and our minds towards the holy and the sanctified court of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and in doing so let us collectively recite the Root Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyana Mawlana Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammadin salatan daimatan maqbulatan tu'addi biha annahu al-fadl al-azim. Over the last few weeks, I have attempted to discuss the importance, as mentioned in the Hadith Mubarakah, of loving Allah and His beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam above all else. The beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that if a person wishes to taste the sweetness of Iman, then the first thing he should do is he should love Allah and Allah's Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam above all else. More than everything, he must love Allah and His beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam. And the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if you love somebody, he said there are three things that will cause and bring you to taste the sweetness of Iman. And the gist of what he said, أو كما قال, is that number one, you should love Allah and His beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam above all else. The next thing is that if you love somebody, anyone in your life, then you should love them for the sake of Allah.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah.
You should love them for the sake of
Allah.
Allah and not for any ulterior reason.
Subhanallah.
And one should hate and dislike to go towards kufr, like how one dislikes being thrown into the fire.
Allah.
These discussions we have had over the last few weeks, and I've said that it is very important for us to note that when a banda, when a servant of Allah finds his heart has become the receptacle of the rays of the love of Allah and His beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, then that heart transforms. That heart transforms, and it is not just a piece of flesh. It is not just something that is physically there and that pumps the blood through your body and keeps you alive. It is something that keeps you physically alive and thereafter keeps you spiritually alive. If the heart has been transformed with the love of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you will find that is the heart in which there will be khawf-e-khuda. There will be the fear of Allah Almighty. Today, we live our lives in a state of neglect and heedfulness. Why is it that we find that even after knowing everything, we still go towards haram? People still go towards guna. We still do that which we know that we will be held accountable for in the court of Allah. But it is still done. The reason for that is that the true fear of Allah has not been impressed on the heart as yet. The pious servants of Almighty Allah, they cared and they feared more about their akhirat than they feared about their dunya. They feared more about the hereafter and their qabr and their hashar. They knew that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that an intelligent man is one who sends forth before he goes. Today, we look at every investment in the world, and we want every investment to be a profitable investment. No person in his right sense of mind will make an investment that will take him towards loss. If it happens, it happened by some foolishness or by some error. But a logical and intelligent person will not want to make any deal or any investment in which there is khasara, in which there is nuqsan, in which there is loss. Why? Because then he says, I will lose everything. What faida is there for me? This is not only in your wealth, this is in your deen. More so in your deen. If you make incorrect investments in your deen, spiritual investments, then you will lose here and you will lose in the hereafter. If you spend the time that Allah gave you, the time that Allah has given you is an amana. It is a trust. And if we abuse that trust by wasting it, then we have invested that amana incorrectly. We have invested that time incorrectly. And instead of getting any benefit, we will face nuqsan. And the nuqsan in the dunya will manifest to nuqsan in the akhirah. Okay? So, the same goes for our children. Our children are an amana. And we put them in the right or the wrong place makes a difference in our dunya and in the akhirah. They are an investment in the real sense. They are a form of spiritual capital. That you invest them correctly in the way of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for the pleasure of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, protecting the deen and the iman from the enemies of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you will see the fruits of that here. If not, you will see the destruction of it in the hereafter. The problem that we face is that the fear of Allah is slowly fading from the hearts. We have become desensitized to reality. I said last week and the week before that I will explain and mention some things that were mentioned about the khawf and the fear of Allah by HAZRAT Sayyidina Faqih Abul Layth Samarkandi radiallahu anhu. He said very beautifully, the awareness of the fear of Allah is manifest in 7 things. He said the aware of the fear of Allah is zahir in 7 things. He said the first, the awareness of the fear of Allah is manifest in how many things he said? 7 things. He said the first is your tongue. The first is your tongue, your zaban. He said the zaban, the tongue must stay away from lies. It must stay away from backbiting and slander. It must stay away from vain speech. And it must remain engaged in the remembrance of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the recitation of the Quran and in seeking and learning the knowledge of deen. Then you know that the fear of Allah has manifested in the zaban. The fear of Allah has manifested in the zaban, in the tongue. He said the second place that the awareness of the fear of Allah manifests is in the heart. He said it is in the heart. He said, how will you know that the fear of Allah has manifested in the heart? How will you know that the awareness of the fear of Allah is manifest, it is present in the heart? He said that a banda will remove malice, slander, jealousy for fellow Muslims from his heart completely. And he said, why? Faqih Abul Layth says, why do you need to remove this from your heart? To realize that the fear of Allah and the awareness of the fear of Allah is manifesting there. Why must you remove envy? Why you must remove jealousy? He says that the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Al-hasadu ya'kulu al-hasanat kama ta'kulu an-nar al-hatab. He said that the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, jealousy consumes your good deeds. Jealousy eats your good deeds just like fire consumes wood. Just like fire consumes wood, hasad takes your good deeds away. Tell me, what is the biggest problem in community today? Let's be honest. It's hasad. It has become a big and a major problem. When you see somebody has something good in him and you desire it because you want to have goodness, then that is admiration. But when you desire it so that you want to be better and lower that person, and because you are not satisfied that how he got it and I didn't get it, that is hasad. And that is what eats through your amal. It eats through our amal. What the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, like fire eats through wood. He said and explains, Faqih Abul Layth explains, that jealousy is amongst the worst diseases of the heart. It is one of the worst diseases of the heart. And he said that the illness of the heart can only be treated through knowledge of deen and through virtue. If a person has knowledge of the deen and he has piety, then only he will know how to treat the disease of the heart. But he said these are the first 2 places that the awareness of the fear of Allah manifests. The tongue and the heart. And then he says, the next place, the eyes. The third place is the eyes. He said, how do you know that the awareness of the fear of Allah has manifested in somebody's eyes or in your eyes? He said the eyes should be protected from consuming that which is forbidding. You consume with your mouth, he's saying with your eyes. When we look at all that which is haram in the dunya. When we look at that which we shouldn't be looking at. He says from gazing at that which is haram. He said from gazing at things which you know are forbidden for you. You know it is haram for me to wear that kind of clothing, but you still look at it with admiration. You know it is haram for me to do a